All right, so welcome to our very first tech training. Yay! It's been a process, but we are trying our best to get everyone prepared as much as we can while we can. So, best way to utilize our time. Um, of course, with the school system possibly moving to permanent virtual type of teaching or educational system, whatever is going to happen in the future, we don't know. But I just feel like it's never going to leave from this point forward. So, um, best thing we can do is try to prepare. All right. So, so we're going to start out with is Google Drive basics. So I'm going to cover, how to get to Google Drive, how to navigate Google Drive from the home page, different things like that. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is creating documents on Google Drive, how to save them, how to edit them, how to share those documents, and really how to format them that will benefit you in possibly teaching a class virtually this semester. Next thing we're going to look at is creating a spreadsheet. So we'll see like what exactly a spreadsheet is for, how to again edit and modify your spreadsheet, different ways you could set up a spreadsheet, and also sharing it and sending it in emails or however what form is best for your students. Lastly, we're going to talk about just basics of virtual meetings on Zoom and Google Meet, kind of giving two platforms because I think in my opinion, if I want to be biased, I like Google Meets better, but I'll kind of introduce both to you just in case there might be questions or how to have a meeting or a class on virtual. And lastly, I'll have 5 to 10 minutes open if anyone wanted to ask any questions or needed any help, even if it's something we didn't cover in this training, but just in general, if you need some help with some type of technology or how to operate something. Okay, so Google Drive basics. So, what is Google Drive and why do we use it? It's an important question because it'll help you be able to figure out the differences between Google Drive and creating a document uh, through, for instance, Microsoft on your computer, which I figured anyone with the experience with creating documents or spreadsheets is, more familiar with Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. That's what we started out with, of course, in the beginning. But you can think of Google Drive as an online filing cabinet. Basically, think of it as an online version of a flash drive, even. It's a place where all of your documents can be stored in one location. So you can recognize Google Drive by this icon here in the corner. I'll show you how to get to that. But the good thing about Google Drive is that all of your documents are stored on something called a cloud. Now, if you're not familiar of what a cloud is, um, I'll explain it to you. A cloud is basically really a cloud in software is very similar to a real cloud in the real world. In nature, clouds are like little storages of water droplets that have evaporated from the earth. They go up to the air and they condense, and then they're stored in these clouds over a period of time. However, only so much water can be stored in the cloud. So this kind of results in rain at some point. Some point, the cloud has to be emptied in order for the process to happen again. So one thing to note is that these clouds don't only exist in Fayetteville. We don't only see clouds in Fayetteville. They're all over the world, right? The same thing, it's the same scenario as with a cloud on Google Drive. So instead of only storing data on our flash drive or our hard drive, which is built into our computer, or it's something that we have to carry with us, in our backpack, the cloud will store all your information into the Google Drive, which is stored in a memory space that you can access through the internet anywhere on any device. So if you're like me, I used to forget my flash drive all the time, and I never had the documents that I needed on hand. So the Google Drive lets you save these documents on this cloud space, and it doesn't matter if I'm using my phone or if I'm on my laptop or if I leave and come to work and use the desktop, I can access all the files that I need on my Google Drive. And it kind of eliminates the issue of not having access to your documents anymore. So this is very convenient for you when you don't have, your computer on hand, or uh, even if, you might need to switch devices. So next point is, why do we use it? Why do we like to use Google Drive, especially here when we're doing our work? Well, there's 4 reasons. The first is that files are easily accessible on any device. It's so important because it doesn't matter if you're after school at the schools, if we're running Engage, if we're running Ensemble, Family Living, doesn't matter what's going on. We can all have important files stored on Google Drive, and then we can all have access to those. Next is it's easy to share documents with anyone. So a lot of times where we're working together in classes or even on lesson planning, for instance, if you might need help, you can share that document with your coworker, or if we needed to get information to you, add it to a document that you created, we could do that as well. And then the next thing is that you can collaborate with others on a project. Like I said, you can lesson plan together. And then most important thing is it's free. Don't, you know what I mean? It's a big factor. Free software is the best software. And then only thing you need to sign into that is your Google account or your Gmail account. So it's fairly easy to get into and to use. So when navigating Google Drive, if you already have a Gmail account and it's logged in, then you'll be able to go straight into your drive. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I wanted to log into Google. Once I go to the Google homepage, all I need to do is type in www.google.com in my address bar and go to the Google search engine. When you do that, there is going to be a 3x3 grid on the top right-hand corner of the Google homepage. So I will help. Anyone needs help kind of getting to that part? We're going to get some help here. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I will demonstrate here. Not yet. Okay, so I have the dark mode on, but so when I go to the Google homepage, what I'm looking for is this 3x3 grid right here. And if you hover over it, it'll say Google Apps. So when I click on that, it's going to pull up my Gmail account, which I would use to send emails with, and then the Google Drive. So that's what I'm looking for right there. So that's what I would be clicking on. All right. Yeah. So this right here is your Google homepage. Okay. And this is the main page where you can see all your documents, and you can organize them and arrange them as however you would want to. So you can see up at the top, it says quick access. So quick access is all of the 3 most recent files that I've opened or that I've worked on or used. So say for instance, you wanted to build or create a document of like just sheet music or something like that. If you had just recently opened it, you know, within the last day or a few hours or minutes, it's going to pop up here. And then underneath that, I have my folders. So imagine taking normal sheets of paper and putting them in a manila folder. That's what the folders are. So if I clicked on a folder, like math tutoring, for instance, it's going to be whatever documents I have in that folder. So it's just a better way to organize your documents as far as like, I could create a folder for sheet music. I could create a folder for tutoring. I could create a folder for, you know, attendance. And that way you'll know exactly where, you know, categorize your documents. Where are my documents at? So I could go, if I want to get out of this file, I'm gonna go back to my drive and then I can scroll and see more of those files. And so sometimes we'll work on something that, or say one of your coworkers sent you a copy of their lesson plan. They shared it with you. You didn't create it yourself. So all of the documents that are shared with you are under this tab right here called Shared with Me. And then if you clicked on those, now you'll see any document that someone ever shared with you. So the more documents that you have shared, the more there'll be, but for the first time, it might be kind of blank. But if you ever wanted to find that one document that I shared with you or Claire or Debbie, go to Shared with Me and it should be there. And then for instance, if you created a document that you kind of, I really don't like a lot of documents everywhere and it's all messy because it confuses me. So sometimes I might want to delete it. So I could either say I want to delete this one, I can click on it, and then I could right click on my mouse and I can hit remove. And when I do that, it's going to send it to the accidentally deleted something. It gives you an undo option because it knows we're not perfect and we always mess up. Okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Same one. Yep. Mm-hmm. If you have Android, then you should automatically have Google Drive on your phone. And then it'll pull up like this. It won't look exactly the same because it's a mobile version, but very similar. So that's what the drive looks like there. All right. The other good thing is not only does Google Drive store your documents, but it's also where you create them. So at the top here, what I would do to create a new document is I would go up here to new. So whenever you click on the new tab, it's going to give you options. They're asking you, do you want to create a folder? Do you want to upload a file? Like, is there a file that's on my computer that I want to put on my drive? Or is there a folder on there that I want to save on my drive? You can do those things. Or down here, it gives you 4 options of new documents to create. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be Google Docs. Yep. Let me know if I'm moving too fast on anything. By the way.
Like if I get some music, like an MP3 or something that I want to share with my students.
Yeah.
MP3s just travel just like.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You can send music files. You can send videos, upload videos, music, documents, spreadsheets, everything. sometimes later on, like you might have to convert the file format, but I'll show you how to do that if you need help. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention is whenever you go to your Google homepage, like your Google search engine, to kind of skip the step of going up here to the corner, selecting Google Drive, you can add it as a bookmark onto your search engine up at the top. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So for example, I'm gonna go back to Google, right? And then I'm gonna go to my drive and I'm gonna open my drive. So after my drive is open, I can click this star up at the top, click on that.
When you hit the star there, instead of Google Drive in the folder space, mine says music info. Is that important what it needs to say right there?
Let me see.
Bookmark bar, it's in the folder after the bookmark add.
It's a lot, yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry I have to keep switching back and forth through pages. Reshare here. All right. So now that we've learned how to do that, and now you know how to navigate kind of like your Google Drive homepage, first assignment is on your Google Drive, I want you to create a folder titled Coda Tech Training. Coda Tech Training. Just create a new folder instead of a doc. Yeah.
What was it you wanted us to name the file?
Coda Training.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So, all right. Next, we're going to talk about creating a document. All right. So, how to create documents using Google Docs. First thing we're going to do is, we kind of already done it, but we're going to go back under that new tab on Google Docs, right? And then once you click on that tab, it kind of gives you an option. So the option it'll give you is you can either create a blank document or use a template. And I'll show you how to do it here in just a second. And the one thing to remember is that don't get frightened about, oh no, I forgot to save my document. It automatically saves as long as you're connected to the Wi-Fi. So make sure that you're not offline. Yeah, you'll be so sad, I promise. But Google Docs is really good at not deleting your stuff. So it's a good thing. And I will open this and show you guys something here. Okay, so if I'm on my drive what I'm going to do is click on new and then hover, like come down to Google Docs. Don't click it yet, but what I'm going to do is go over to this little arrow. If you see that little arrow, it should give you an option, either a blank document or from a template. You see that? It should be the same. Dennis is on a tablet. It might, I don't know if it's on there or not.
And you're going to blank document.
So I'm going to choose blank document this time. Okay, so when I hit blank document, it'll bring up the editing version. Okay, so this is where you kind of get free range on whatever document you want to create. I'm gonna give an example. I need an example. I got it. So I'm just gonna go through and kind of create a flyer. Okay. Say for inspired. So first thing I can do is I always like to title my document first. So at the top of your page, it'll say like untitled document. This is where you're gonna title it, title the file itself. So I'm gonna type this Coda flyer training. Okay. And then click on the page. So after you titled it, you probably saw like right beside it, it said saving ... So it's showing you that it's saving your changes. So first thing we're going to do is kind of play around with editing text. Okay. So it's kind of endless to the styles and different ways that you could add text on here. For all the artsy people, they will love doing this. For all the non-artsy people, you want a title. The cool thing about some updates to like editing text is they know that you'll have different style or like different types of text in your paper. So you'll have, like normal paragraphs, you might have a title, which usually most people want the title to be larger, right? And things like that. So you can, like for a quick way, you can click on where it says normal text and go down to title if you want to. And when you do that, it'll automatically give you like a big font. Okay, and it's bolded. That's if you didn't really have a preference of how you wanted the title to look, but you just wanted to create one real quick, you could do it like that. Okay. So this is my title. And when you type, it's going to show you the size of your font, which is the number right here. And then it's going to show you your font style. Okay. So all of these things you can change. For instance, let's say I wanted my font, the title to be a little bit bigger. It's got to be bold, stand out. Okay. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on my font size. I want it to be like a 48. Okay. Boom. Humongous. the key is to first, you have to select all the text that you want to change. So you can either do this by, if you're on a laptop, you have to hold your mouse down and then drag at the same time. It's frozen.
Yes, it's stuck on
Oh,
well, I don't know where this is at. You're not in any document right now.
okay. Is it coming up now?
Yes, it says this is my title.
Yeah. Great. You can see me highlighting it.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Like I was saying, in order to modify or change text in any way, you have to make sure you highlight it. So you'll know you'll highlight it once. See how it all turned blue like that? And then once I do that, I can go up to the top and I can change the font. So let's say I want something a little more fancy.
I like lobster.
Lobster it is. Okay. So now change the font style. And then I could even like bold it, make it bolder, or I could italicize it. I can underline, and I can even change the color. So might as well go to green. No, that hurts. Navy blue. Okay. So to highlight. Okay, make sure you select your text, of course. And then you see it looks like a little pin beside the A. Click on that one. And then you can choose any color there. And then it'll highlight it for you. All right.
It's just about today.
All right. So from there, let's say I just wanted to, this is my title. And then I wanted to move on to the next line. So all I would do is hit enter. And when I do that, it's going to see how it reverted back to normal text. It's not a title anymore. It's not bold and big. So now if I started typing, say, it's going to make it small again. For me, that's too small to read. The rule of thumb is never go under 12 font if you don't have to. Size 12. Okay.
These things right up here, the link,
Uh-huh.
and that's a picture.
Picture.
And what's that?
And this is a comment right there. I'll show
And
how
the
to do that.
link
Yeah.
to somebody's email.
Yeah. You could do, say, you wanted to send a flyer out to your kids or something to go on our website and get the sheet music off the website. I could highlight the title, add a link, insert link, and then right here, I could paste www.codamountain.com. And it's, I can add.
So if that was an MP3, I just
Yeah.
highlight the MP3
Uh-huh.
and do the link, and that will show up.
Yep. If you had saved the MP3 like in your Google Drive already, I could go here, find more, and go to Drive. And when I click Drive, it's literally gonna pull up all the documents in my Drive right now. And that way I can find the MP3 link and add it in there. Uh-huh. Yep. Or you can hit Insert Image. Yep. Yep, if you're there, it's going to be the same thing. Just a faster way. Yep. You can get it, pull it from your Drive. This is going to pull it from your Google Photos or upload it from your actual hard drive or search the internet for
My phone link to my.
yeah.
And every photos in my phone.
Oh, okay. One more thing to show you on here is, say for instance, you type a full paragraph out, but the spacing, the paragraph is too tight. So you can change your line spacing by this one here. It's called line spacing. It's right beside your alignment. When you do that, right now mine's set to 1.15, but I can set it to double space. And then it's going to space your wording out a lot easier, a lot better. So if you wanted to make the text like a lot bigger, it wouldn't be so, crunched in. But there's a lot of things on here that you kind of just have to play with them. If you was like kind of creating a certain document or something like that. Another important thing to know is this button here, which Mudcat asked me about, was comment button. So it kind of looks like a little chat box. It looks like a little chat box with a plus sign in it. If you hover over it, it says add comment. You see that? If you click on that, sorry, my screen zoomed in. This is going to pop up on the side. So if I was working on this with someone else, or we were working on it together, or even if I'm working on it midway and I want to leave myself a mental note, like go back and fix this or change this, you can add a comment at that space that you're at and then say, fix this later, hit comment. So it'll show you where you need to go fix something. Or if I'm working together with somebody, I can say if I was working with Savannah, I can say at Savannah, her email's gonna pop up. And I can say fix this later. And then when I do that, it's gonna notify her that I told her to do something. And then it's just going to say, ask you, do you want to share the comment? And yeah, you want to share it, comment. Okay, then she'll be able to see that. So in order for her to be able to look at your document, or anyone, you have to go up here to the right-hand corner and hit share button. And when I click on the share button, right now, it's going to show you who all is able to see the document. But if I wanted to add another person, like Claire, I would just start typing in her email address, and more than likely it'll pop up on its own. But I'm gonna click on that and then click send. So when that happens, now she's going to get an email saying that they shared this document with you.
So the three of you can see the same document.
Yep, at the same time. And you can edit it at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. So if I, for example, I'll show you. I'm going to share this document with myself, but I'm going to share it to my other email accounts. Okay. So after I shared it with myself, then if I was on my other Google Drive account and say I want to edit this document, see if I got the notification here. Okay, so I edit. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, you see how that A pops up in the corner? It's saying that someone's live, someone's on the document right now. And then it's going to show my cursor up here. I'll move it around. So yeah, I'm editing it. So if someone else is working on it, you'll be able to see them typing like live.
Can you change anything in that document, or just that you highlight?
Yeah, right now I can change anything. So I can edit the title, wording, I can change colors, everything. If you wanted just someone to be able to view it and not change anything because you don't want to mess it up, when you share it at the top, when you hit share time, you can change it. You made them an editor automatically. But I can change that to viewer only, or a commenter only, where they can at least make a comment on it. Yeah. But yeah, you can change their permissions or whatever. That's kind of the basics of this. Like I said, it just takes like playing around with it or actually having something that you wanted to practice on. But okay, just to go over this really quickly. So Google Docs, we kind of got the basics of that now, right? So after you work on it just a little bit, you'll get more familiar with it. The more you practice, doing stuff, just play around with typing things on there, changing the font, changing the color, all that kind of stuff. And then the next thing that's on there is Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is the Drive version of Excel. So basically what you'll do under Google Sheets is you're always going to go to that new tab. That new tab is where you'll start any new document. So when you hit that new tab, it's going to give you that option under Google Docs. You'll see the Google Sheets. That's the green one. Okay, and then all your documents, of course, on Google Sheets will be saved again. And then the importance of Google Sheets is if you're looking for a way to store more data, like numbers or attendance, like practice attendance, or dates, or creating tables or something, like more structured way of a document, you probably want to use Google Sheets to do it. You can create tables on there. I'll give you a little cheat sheet of like formulas that you can use, the most common ones, like sum, like adding things together, finding an average or something like that, like 4 or 5. I'll show you how to input it here real quick. And then, of course, One of the hardest things sometimes to do with Google Sheets is for it to print out. Like you want to print the table out, sometimes it doesn't work. But I'll show you a tip. So when I go to my drive and I go to create a new document, right? I go down to sheets this time. Sheets is the green one. When I go to Google Sheets, it's going to give me the same option. So I can either choose a blank sheet or I can choose it from a template. So I'll go ahead and just choose from a template this time. All right. Now Google's going to give you all the templates they have for sheets. So like you might need it for attendance, make an attendance sheet, or say you wanted to have like a list of assignments for them to do and you want to track down like whether or not they did them. You could have like an assignment tracker, make a to-do list. You might have your new grocery list in a Google Sheet. Wow. Or a calendar. You can make calendars. Google Sheet is one of the greatest ways to like print out a calendar or a schedule. Like you wanted to make a weekly schedule or something, you could do that. So I will choose, or if you want to like start trying to learn how to make your own budget, kind of cool. I like doing my budget, but I'm a nerd. So we'll do something pretty simple. Let's do daily schedule. All right. It's okay. So I'm gonna zoom out so it looks better. Oh no. Doesn't want to cooperate. All right, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, Google Sheets is a little different than a document. It's arranged in rows and columns, so it's a lot easier for you to make tables out of, which is pretty great. But in this template, they kind of already worked out the hard stuff that we needed to do. Yeah, time. For example, Sheets has, because it uses formulas, it's pretty smart at figuring out like what you're trying to do ahead of time. So for instance, on the schedule planner, if I wanted to schedule times from like noon to 6, I wouldn't have to go in and change every time down the scale. Like I could start up here at the first cell, like I would click on that, and then I could type in 12 o'clock p.m. Okay. And so now it's noon. And something cool about Sheets is if, I don't know if you can see it, but right here in the corner of the cell, it's like this little blue box. It's hard to see, but I'll put it in the video. I can click on that. And when I click on it and drag down and I select more cells underneath, see how it automatically changes every cell from like hour increments of 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on. So what happens is, for example, time frames. If I have any other cells underneath that, it's going to assume I'm trying to build something that grows in time or like goes by time. So it'll change it for me automatically. If I changed 12 o'clock to 12:30 and then did the same thing, it's still it'll change it for me. So I'm gonna go increments of 1 hour.
It just changes what you highlight.
Yeah, just changes what I highlight, exactly. Same thing for dates. Of course, it's not September anymore. So I could change this date to 1/27, which is today. And then click on that corner. I gotta click on the corner of it and drag. And it changes the date, the number date, and the day of the week. So that's kind of a short way. If you use a template to like build a schedule or some sort, if you wanted a schedule for yourself, you can just alter it real quick. Save you some time. Another important thing you can do in Sheets is formulas. So you don't really need this for a schedule, but I'm gonna just do an example right here. Actually, I'll show you one more thing. So as you can see, daily schedule is here. Let's say this schedule is only for the week of January 27 through February the 2nd. Instead of like going through and like redoing the schedule on here, you just want to start a new one and then have it, have week by week of what your schedule was. So down here, this is called one of your worksheets. So you're telling me that this worksheet is the week of January 27th through February 2nd. Okay. It'll always remain like that. You can work on it from this tab. Let's say I wanted to start a new tab. I could hit add a sheet. When I hit add a sheet, it'll start a new one to the right of it. So instead of it being blank, another option I could do is while I'm on this tab, I can click the arrow down here and hit duplicate. So now it's a copy of the same schedule I made on the other side. So like if you already had your schedule filled out, you can duplicate it and then just change the days of the week. So it'll save you some time. But for instance, say, okay, this is a blank sheet right here, and you had a list of kids that came to class. There's little Jimmy, and there's John in there. I don't know why they're all J's. Debbie and Dennis and Sharon. Okay. And we're going to take attendance from January 27th for this week. Say John came. He was present. Oh, man. Let's say Jimmy was present today, tomorrow, the next day, and he didn't come the days after that. John was present, never. Debbie was there every day because she's a good kid. And then Dennis was there. He was tardy. He was just tardy though. And then he showed up on time twice. And then of course Sharon is there. She's early. Okay. So I could use, there's different formulas that you could use in here to kind of save you time. Because I won't want to go through, say they ask me how many times was John present. Well, if this was like a whole month, you don't want to go through and count. It's unrealistic. So what I could do is use a formula that's built in Excel. So the thing about formulas is the format they use is that whenever you type the equal sign into that space, it knows you're about to type the formula. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? So after I type the equal sign, there is a formula called sum. And it'll, all the formulas that they have will show up. Okay.
I've been lost.
Okay. Well, I'll go back over it. So when I hit sum, it'll tell you what the formula is for. It'll say sum of a series of numbers in our cells. So it's just going to add whatever series of cells that you want it to add together. So if I had sum, all I have to do is select the ones that I want to add. And then hit enter usually. But in this case, 0 is going to come up because it's sum. Yeah. And same thing we did before, is we click that corner, it'll drag down. So 0 is going to come up this time because the sum is looking to add numbers together. So that's the crazy part about it. But there's another formula you could use called count. It's called count if. So count if is going to do the same thing as a sum, but since we're using letters, it'll count whatever letter you want to count. So this time I wanted to count all of John's attendance. And I'm gonna have to hit a comma because I need to count something specific. I needed to count only A's, which are absence. And I put it in quotation marks. And I'm trying to count this A every time you see it A. And then I hit enter. When I do that, now it gives me a number.
What column do you have that under?
So you can put that formula in any column. That's the thing about it. You can put it in any column. The only thing that matters is what you select as what you want it to look at. So at the very top, it's telling you what formula you got in this cell. Yeah, and it's cell C4, which is on C down to 4, and it's C4 all the way to G4. So it's looking at C4 to G4, and it's only counting 8. I had to type in, but when you do type it in, just make sure every time you hit equal sign and count, you go down to count if, and it'll kind of explain to you. Yeah. So see, gives you an example. So it's telling you you have to select a range, like your range is this range. So select that range, then it tells you put a comma, and then in quotation marks, put what you want me to count. So it's kind of giving you an example of what you want to do. So when I do it, I can select it, hit comma, and then hit present this time. If I want to count present only, and hit enter. So again, keep you from having to do that over and over again. You just hit that little box. That little box is like a copy and paste, basically. But I'm gonna drag it down over everybody. Like it knows that you counted this row. So when you drag it down, it's like, oh, you want to count this row and this row and this row? So it does it for you automatically.
Okay, so it's counting.
Yeah. And I can even drag it up this way because I skipped these 2 people. So I can drag it up there and it's saying he's present for you. And vice versa. But Excel, it's another one of those things. You just got practice. But I'll send out a video. I used to, when I first started learning stuff, and how to use Excel, I just like doing it.
So when your dates,
Mm-hmm.
how would you get all the dates?
Type it in.
For each one?
Type it in you can type it in the first cell. And then as soon as you do that, click that little box. When you hover over the box, it turns into a cross. So it's telling you to copy and paste whatever it is, like the formatting you want. It's gonna copy it for you. So I could drag it over. I could drag it over longer, and it'll put more dates past that if you wanted to.
Okay, so the different dates.
Mm-hmm. Days of the week or days of the month. If you wanted to do the days of the week, like this one, they already have the formula built in for you. But all I did was change this to 127.
I'm not on that one.
Okay. If I change that one to 130 instead, it'll change the day of the week for me. But that's kind of the good thing about using a template is that if you don't feel like going through all the
Types it all out.
formulas,
And then
yeah,
you wanna check all of them.
yeah, like you know,
Yeah.
that way it'll copy it. It'll
It takes
copy it for
forever
you.
to come up, so
Excuse me, Zay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to let you know I got to head out, but this has been very helpful.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, and I'll send out. Well, either Savannah will send out the examples if anyone needs them and videos.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Last thing to talk about Zoom and Google Meet. We'll do a more detailed uh, Zoom and Google Meet instruction. Last thing I do want to talk about is just some virtual etiquette tips, just small things that even helps me out. But especially if you're teaching the kids virtually and having a classroom, it'll probably help you out too, and how to keep them more engaged in a sense. So this was a little video, I mean, not video, but picture that I found that I thought was pretty good. And so it's just talking about online meeting etiquette. So I had 8 things to kind of help you remember. The first one of those is join early. So joining early gives you time to, test your connection. Like today we have really bad Wi-Fi, which happens all the time. So at least when you get on early, you'll be able to see if the Wi-Fi is working at all. So that's happened to me before. And if your mic is working, things like that. And then sometimes the kids might have problems getting on too. So if you get on early enough, you'll probably they could send you a message saying, "Hey, I need extra help getting on the meeting." And then I would suggest when you're doing a Zoom call to use either like a headset with a microphone or earphones with a microphone on it, because like you can hear better. They can hear you more clearly without all the background noise. And then if you don't have that, or if you have like a real microphone, that's even better. And earphones on. But I would suggest using headphones in general. And then secondly is dress appropriately. Of course, everybody wants to wear the pajamas on. I'm just kidding. The suit jacket and no pants on. Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah. So I would just, yeah, with the suit jacket. Dress how you would if you were teaching in person. It does help you focus more. Like you feel like you're more in the zone. Feel like you're actually teaching when you do that.
It helps the kids too.
And helps them too. Yeah.
Because they feel like they're seeing someone more professional.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And they'll focus more. Next one of those is surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. Make sure your background is tidy. It looks good. I recommend a neutral background if I was teaching a class, like a blank wall, or even if you have like pictures and stuff on the wall, it's cool. But sometimes I know if I'm on there and there's like a TV going in the background or like this really cool thing on the wall, like I'm gonna look at the wall, you know. But anything that's not distracting again will help you, and it'll keep you from having to reprimand everybody for showing off or talking too much or anything like that. Um, Another tip is make sure that your room is bright enough. Like I've been in meetings sometimes too with like professors of my own, and it's so dark in there that I can't see them because I'm looking on the call. I'm looking to like see eye to eye, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm trying to focus so much. I'm trying to see you, try to brighten my screen that it kind of just creates another like distance along with the virtual setting. Yeah, it is, but it does help though. If you have a, you know, you can use a lamp to help. I like using like a little table lamp or desk lamp if I was on a video and I need to be on teaching. Um, Another thing is you can use the virtual background option, which I'll show you in the video, but you've seen people up with virtual backgrounds probably. And get the right camera angle. Literally, my brother's teacher was doing a virtual call a couple days ago, and his camera was down here, so all you could see was like under his chin, and yeah, like his nose. Like the kids are all there, like you know, that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So
Distraction.
yeah, it's distracting. So a good camera angle is something to always remember. So when if you get time to join early, you know, you can kind of set it up right, or a tripod, or maybe you have to sit your computer high, like on a stand or something like that to get a good angle. Just play around with it a little bit. Um, and then muting. So my rule of thumb is I always mute as soon as the conversation starts or as soon as the meeting starts. But during your meeting, if you're teaching the group, go ahead and tell them at the beginning, like everybody mute your mic. And if they don't, you have the ability to mute it yourself, to mute everybody. So I would go ahead and mute them. And then these kids, they know what to do now. Like they know how to hit unmute button, talk, and then mute themselves back. So that's kind of a good thing. Another thing is if you're using your phone, go ahead and turn your notifications off. Or I like to turn mine on do not disturb. So that way, like a video call or nothing won't pop up in the middle of me talking and I get distracted. And then if you're a person that likes to sit while you do it, I would say try and stay seated the whole time. If you like more of a lecture style, like where you can stand up and present something, like if you had like a sheet of paper with my whiteboard, I could stand here, present, then you can do it that way too. I actually preferred that way when I was teaching math and we had to move online. They were used to me using the board and I used the board a lot. Like I used the whiteboard at the New River building, but I just brought it close and then it was kind of like,
Right there.
yeah, Bill Nye when he used to do the videos, you know. Yeah. But I prefer standing. It's just whichever method you prefer, they say just stay with that the whole movie. And if you're using any papers of any sort or any notes, is all good. Long as you want to keep it as far away from the mic as possible. Like we probably all heard when you're on the video call and you're someone turning pages, or if they're typing, that's the loudest. Sometimes the typing when it comes through, yeah, they are. It's because they're using their computer and the mic is right here on your computer. So you don't think about it when you're typing, but on the other end, it's like, you're like, ah. So if you're typing something, even mute it while you type and just hit unmute real quick. It's all things you just gotta learn ahead over as time goes on. And then grace. Be patient with students. A lot of them are going to get on, in a wave sometimes. They're not all going to get on at the right time. So you can be creative with that time, like come up with a game, come up with time to ask each other, ask all the kids, like, what they did recently, what they did this weekend, or ask them life questions. I don't know what their goals are. You can, yeah, yeah. I think it'll create an even better environment, when you do that. Like a video. I think it says the best time, their attention span at its greatest is about 30 to 40 minutes on the video call.
I think the videos that you did last semester was 45.
Mm-hmm.
But
With the music. Yeah.
really, you can try 45 minutes.
Mhm. I don't know if I still have this picture up here, but there was a photo. I don't think I have it. I might have to find it. But it was a photo showing how much, like the time distribution of one Zoom call. And it was on under 5% of Zoom calls are usually going over the actual content. It was like 25% went toward asking everybody what they did, the other day. And it goes on for like 20 minutes. And then 10% of the time went toward discipline, getting people to sit down or turn their mics on or telling them to mute, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
And I think I heard about, I don't even remember today, how many kids I had in the class.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
And then the last one is your wrap up. So at the very end, it's really important to end with a recap of what you discussed and also reiterate their assignments or instructions of what you wanted them to do before the next class, and how to complete those. Also offer them a chance for Q&A. If you want to take out 5 minutes before you end, or 2 minutes even, just to give them a chance to ask questions, do so, but control the time frame for that again. And make sure that your meetings end completely before getting up out your seat. Don't be this guy. All right. And that's it. So that is our training number 1. We did it with messed up Wi-Fi. We did it. So again, I'll have to get them recorded. I'll send out videos of me working through the spreadsheet assignment and then the Google Doc assignment. And then I'll send out videos about Zoom calls. And there's so many teachers and stuff out there now that have good YouTube videos about how to do a Zoom call, how to keep the kids' attention, funny thing, all that stuff. But I'll look those up and send those out as well. And then we might, if necessary, we can have another one eventually whenever we can schedule that. But I think that's about it. And then for anyone who didn't come today or didn't get to join today, there will be a quiz sent out. We will edit this Zoom call, make it a little more shorter, edit out the other stuff, and then they'll have to rewatch it and do a quiz. So lucky you guys don't have to do a quiz. You have passed. I wish I had certificates. Everybody likes certificates. But that's all we got today. Thanks, Rob, for coming. Rob's still on there. Renee's on there.
It was very informative.
Thank you. And if y'all need help with anything, planning, I would say if you have time, go ahead and come up with a lesson plan of how you want to teach your subject virtually. Do it ahead of time. That's what I would do. It'll help you out. Even if you were doing tutoring,
like, you know, tutoring on your own, having a virtual plan is pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's about it. If you need help with those things, just reach out to us. All right. See ya, Renee. Glad you made it in.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.